The Liberty Dialogue's response to the Orlando Carter case. It's May 17th, 2026. Welcome to yes2hellwith.com. Over the course of this series, we have examined the Orlando Carter prosecution, the $4 million alleged obligation, the FBI investigation, prosecutorial conduct, and I would say misconduct, OCC contradictions, institutional prestige, and the string of illusions that came from all of it. Now we arrive at the final question. What is the response? The Liberty Dialogue's framework is not built upon emotional outrage. It is not built upon broad anti-government rhetoric. It is not built upon blind rejection of institutions. It is built upon sequence, authority, jurisdiction, status, standing, obligation, and enforcement under the umbrella of presumption. That sequence matters because every lawful enforcement action depends upon the independent establishment of each of the prior element. The danger in this case arose because presumptions harden into accepted facts before those foundational elements were independently and competently established. The solution to presumption is not chaos. The solution is disciplined examination. It requires proof, authenticated records, lawful authority, verified obligations, and independently established structure. It requires distinguishing narrative from evidence. It requires distinguishing prestige from verification. It requires refusing to allow presumptions to silently become reality. Because once people demand proof instead of prestige, the system is forced to confront the difference between presumption and fact. This series has emphasized one central point. The issue is structural. Every modern prosecution depends upon institutional trust, procedural continuity, and the public presumption that foundational verification already occurred. But when that presumption replaces actual proof, freedom itself becomes vulnerable. That is why this series matters. The Liberty Dialogue's framework does not guarantee outcomes, it guarantees examination. It restores sequence. It restores structure. It restores the distinction between what has been proven and what has merely been presumed. That is the response. Not outrage, structure. Not emotional reaction, disciplined examination. Not blind trust, proof. Now think carefully about what we have examined. The bank, PNC Bank, created the narrative, the false narrative. The FBI accepted the false narrative without a competent and thorough investigation. The prosecution did not examine equal to the FBI and institutionalized the false narrative. The courtroom transformed the narrative into the record. The judge said that the $4 million loan was the centerpiece to the record. Later prosecutors defended the record despite emerging contradictions, and the original presumptions became more powerful than independent verification itself. That is the danger. Because once systems preserve conclusions more aggressively than they pursue truth, the public becomes vulnerable. This series is not asking you to abandon all trust in institutions. It's asking you to stop confusing institutional prestige with independent proof. Those are not the same thing. And that distinction disappeared in the Orlando Carter case. That is why the Liberty Dialogue's framework repeatedly forces the same questions. Who possesses authority? What creates jurisdiction? What status attaches? Who possesses standing? What obligation actually exists? And where is the proof? Because without those questions, presumption quietly becomes reality. Systems do not usually collapse dramatically. They drift from proof into assumption and then presumption, from examination into continuity, from truth into preservation. That drift became visible in this case. And if enough people begin asking the correct structural questions, perhaps someday heroes will no longer be necessary, because systems themselves will once again possess the courage to independently correct error. Until then, may truth reign supreme.